Hi George, how are you? Dilomi?
How are you? Who?
Oh, hey Tariq, how are you?
Very well, very well.
I can't see
Thank
anybody. All I see is MS and D.
you
Hmm.
cannot see me, George.
No, I cannot.
Oh my God.
I don't know if
Dilomi, can you see me?
I don't know if that's on purpose or by accident.
I can see
I
you.
I I put myself on display, so it's not my fault.
Dilomi is here and George Schwartz
Yeah,
is here.
he's here. We are waiting for Huzar and Usman.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, so our show today is going to be around Usman,
Yes. The
right?
king.
So, George, you need to explain him our opportunities with the GPS
Mm,
health
yes.
from UK,
Yes, yes.
and what is the understanding with Jennifer in regards to new foundation markets.
Hmm.
Usman is a very resourceful person. He is considering joining us on the board. We're still in the talks, but
Hmm.
he has been, uh, uh, as you know, working with one of the leading investment banks, Bank Saudi France in Saudi for 15 years. And he's also helping us with raising some investments from UAE and Saudi. He's very well
That
positioned. So, yeah,
has he
that's
seen
a
this?
good news.
Has he seen this investor presentation from
Yes, I
GPS?
forwarded him the deck, the presentation last night. So
Right.
he may have some questions from there as well.
Cool.
Yeah, but today is just an introductory meeting once again, just to form a team. Uh, because Usman, currently he is in Saudi. He is in Riyadh right now, and he is talking to his group of people. Uh, so what could be done in regards to MedOnline and few other
Yes,
projects?
I hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know how much detail I can give. Really, the ball hasn't really moved too much in foundation capital. All we have is an encouraging word from Anne that they
Yes.
that David Fellow liked the deal. But I don't know what further light I can throw onto the topic really. Except to tell the folks that there's that guy. He's in a car. Hey,
Yes, I am in the
what
car.
are you getting out of town or?
No, no, no. I came to the bank and then I realized that the meeting starts, so I just came back and
I
just
see.
relaxed here. Yeah, so I understand that we are at a very preliminary initial stages with here is
There
Huzar.
she is. There she is. That sweet
How
Oh,
little
you
thing.
doing?
Look at her lovely
it's
teeth.
good. I had some difficulty to join the meeting somehow. I had to re-download the app.
I love your sparkling white teeth. Oh, I can't get over it.
Yeah,
Those are.
it's a business meeting, George. Can't you
Oh,
stop?
sorry. Okay.
Okay, hey, how are you, girl?
Hey, hello. Hi, Hazar. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Who's that? Who else is?
Yeah, yeah. So I was saying that it's I know it's very initial stages when it comes to new foundation or GPS, but it's good. We want Usman and all of us to be involved from this stage, so that it's like sort of a training, you know.
Yes, I
Even if
understand.
this does not go through, we will still talk about the numbers and how to present it. It will help us in our future presentations. Why not? We need to make this team active, more active,
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
probably bring in some.
Because
Yeah,
if we do go further on this project
yeah,
with our friends,
yeah,
they're going to need backup support. They can't just have Hussar and Hussar and
100%.
Hussar as the team. There
Yeah,
has
yeah,
they're going to have to probably check out Usman and some others as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the good news is, sorry, George, the good news is that we also spoke with Kirk. He will be joining us back. So
good.
Yeah, he can be a, he has some really good market experience and presentation skills. So
yes.
that should help.
Yes, I believe so.
Right?
Good.
So yeah, things are moving in the right direction. So we are just waiting for Usman. I talked to him like an hour ago. This meeting is a bit spontaneous. He is in Saudi. It would be around 9 o'clock at night. So he was just heading back home. He said as soon as he reaches home, he's gonna join in.
No problemo.
Yeah.
That's good.
So Dilomi, how have you been?
Well, I'm growing older, but not wiser. But
Okay, no. Wisdom stays.
Yeah.
It may get a bit slow, but it doesn't get less.
That's true. So I'm doing some other deals, and God willing, that will give me the opportunity to entangle myself financially with you guys further.
Sure.
And
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see how Foundation can really put a damper on this, because the proposal or the structure that I sort of put in front of them is very sensible. That if GP wants to expand globally, we are a natural fit for them, at least in North America. And they should basically pay for our services, by joining with us as well. So that's the way I perceive the whole thing happening. I think GPS runs the risk in the UK of being kind of like crowded out of the private health market, because everything in the UK is almost all socialized. They have the NHS, the almighty NHS, which controls everything there, much more so than in Canada. But they say they have the same pressures there as some here in Canada have, because privatized medicine is a no-no. It's a taboo. So they have to basically expand out of there, in my opinion, and we are a natural help for them in that regard. Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I lost your face.
Yeah,
there you are.
Because
there she is. There she is.
George, I was doing something for you. I'm sending you actually. I promised you previously, but I'm sending you this now. His name is Ralph Idema. He's a Dutch guy who was one of the Bitcoin pioneers. So he probably would have contacts or expertise that you can utilize in your crypto project. So I sent it to you on SMS.
Was he that red-headed guy that was sitting beside you at the
jazz party? Remember Jazz?
Yes, I do.
That he had this cannabis project.
Yes.
And we went to his party, and we met Ralph there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's how the connection. He knows me as Huzar, and this is how we met with him, me and Tarek. And you can say that we forward his detail to you.
Cool. Okay.
Try to reach out to him. He's in Canada actually, and he comes and goes. He has mining in South Africa and Latin America projects. He was into that at that time.
Oh, this is the guy that we met at that bar, like on Church Street?
It was it's someone else. You haven't met him. We met him in Jazz had this launch party for his cannabis project.
Roy, okay, that's good place.
On that company.
Okay.
Tarek?
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Jazz, did you connect with him lately? Is he still working on his
No,
campaign?
I did not. Not yet. No.
I'm gonna try to remember the name of the company. I can't.
Oh, Circa.
Circa, correct.
Yeah, Circa.
There was Circa.
Gas. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know what's up with these guys. They wanted to go public, but I
Yeah.
think it's not happening yet.
He was a slow mover. He was taking his time, doing requisitions and trying to get uh, cannabis, like beauty care and different kinds of components into his company to make it better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Taking his time. So at that time, 2019, he was not launched. Then 2020, COVID hit, and we did not connect that much. So I don't know. Probably we should reconnect with him and see if he gave it up or.
So yeah, we can. I think his efforts were mainly along like bringing small uh, parties together and form a bigger platform.
I'm at Usman to the meeting. Dilomi, you are muted. Hello, Usman. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Hello, hi. How are you, everyone?
We're great.
Hello, Usman.
Hello.
We're great.
Hello.
Don't drive while you're on the call.
No, I'm parked. That's why I came to the bank and then realized that I was running late for the meeting, so I
Indeed.
decided to sit here
Yeah.
and
Okay, just give
do
me
it
2
from
minutes and I'll join you guys. Just give me
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So George, if you manage to contact Ralph, I hope it will be a good connection. Something might come out of it. If not, we tried.
Well, I'll probably get free cannabis, so that's going to help me.
We can get that from Jazz, probably not from him.
Which it depends what form. Do you want it in edible form or you want to smoke it or drink it
Any
or
form.
chocolate?
Even if
I think chocolate.
no, even if I have to shove it up my my ass, I will take it.
That I
I
don't
need
know.
I need mental diversion.
Mental stimulation actually.
And
The word is stimulation. My English is not good, but
stimulation rhymes with demolition, so I'm gonna demolish my brain.
You guys, there's ladies in this meeting. So basically, Ralph was in the Circa party in his capacity as an investor.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes. So
Tell him we have supply.
Yep.
He's looking like we really okay. So is Usman with us or is he?
Yeah, he needs a few minutes.
He needs like a couple of minutes. Yeah, probably he just drove in. He was out, so he needs a couple of minutes to settle down and start. Yeah.
Now, Anne, when you spoke to, did you speak to Jennifer about the feedback, or she just sent you?
She already spoke to Peter. He's traveling. He was going to get back to her with a time for the meeting. He's interested to hear more. She forwarded to him GPS services info deck, the same presentation that we gave her. And probably she's expecting, just like she said in the meeting, to show Peter something more official. So we would need for Kyle to come through and set up a meeting with them. And the purpose of this meeting now with Usman is to go over your vision and see what would be best for us, because we have other options for funding that we are currently pursuing, and we just need one of them to work. So when Usman comes back, we will just lay out your vision and see how you think it should be done, and then we can get his input from his experience, since he's been working with institutions and private investors alike, and he can probably give us some insight. I hope that he was involved in this kind of ideas before, unusual things, and he can tell from his experience what would work more, and then we can come to a conclusion what we will have to propose to them, and then I would be able to press Kyle into getting a meeting with them and to discussing with them some more and offer whatever we have.
Yeah. Well, Kyle has this this client of his GPS. It's actually a client of Bank, which is a very big exempt market dealer here in Toronto. So he's very friendly with the Bank people, who brought him this GPS deal. So the Bank people essentially said to Kyle, bring me a really solid, good deal, and we can probably do this merger, to make it a bigger pie rather than two separate pies. So that's how it goes. So basically, Kyle has a free ticket to bring or to get a deal done, and of course, when I heard GPS is in the identical business, a light bulb went up in my head, and it said, "Hey, wait a minute! Isn't there another company that is virtually a copycat?" And they said, so here we are. I can't really find any negatives in here. Both there is.
Us?
Hi, how are you?
Yes, Usman.
Yes, hi. My apologies. I was just finishing up another call, so I'm good, very good. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So thank you everyone for joining this call on Saturday. And Usman, you are in US, in Saudi. So
Yes.
I have made your introduction to rest of the team. Here with us is George. You have met George already.
Yes.
Did I? Oh, you mean what? Down at the
It
Lakeshore
was
there?
a little while ago.
Okay, I have a good memory, but it's very short.
You met him virtually in our board meetings when we started back in 2020. He was with us.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah. So
And also we have Dilomi with us. Dilomi has been with us as an advisor for past about 6 months. She has experience working in the financial markets with a focus in accounting. So agenda today is to discuss about the opportunities that we have on the table. For example, this GPS health. They are interested in some sort of alliance and trying to reach an EMD that we can bring on table through one of our legal advisor, Jennifer. So Huzar will take over. George, as well,
is there
because
an
George and
earthquake?
Huzar were in the meeting, so they can explain you better.
Okay.
Basically, GPS services have almost the same strategies as MedOnline. The main difference is between us is the revenue model, and our business strategies are similar, which is go internationally, work with government, with private sector, and with corporates, then scale up and take it globally. They already have generated revenues. They had seed money from capital company, Maven Capital, I think that's called. They did one crowdfunding campaign, and they're looking for $12 million of funding. They have two goals. One of them is for campaigning in order to onboard more patients and businesses, and the other one is to pay up Maven Capital for a business loan that they took against the funding. And they have a clause in their agreement with them that if they do not pay up soon, then Maven Capital will have a bigger share. Currently, they are at 36% of the shares from this company. They work with pharmacies. Technology-wise, we have more features in our app than they do. If I understand correctly, their flow, they just get an assessment, send it to the doctor. The doctor will somehow call you up, give you the prescription, and then the prescription is sent through their platform. I was missing the option, where is the video call? How are the doctors contacting back the patients? I assume that they're doing it on the phone because we don't have it in there. Regarding funding, they have been funded, which currently we are at early stage. It's just like the main differences. George with us here, he will explain his vision regarding combining the two offers. We approached financial markets, the AMD, through our securities lawyer, Jennifer Campbell from Fogler. And we offered her up to take up the both companies' funding as a package to them and to sort out an understanding between us and them so that we can get the funding as soon as possible. George, could you just explain how do you envision this happening, please?
I have a vision, Usman. First, the big sort of highlight of this whole presentation should be that this company already has a commercial affiliation with 4,200 locations in the UK, which includes Boots and Superdrug. I don't know if you're aware of the UK medical landscape, but these are big chains: Boots, Superdrug, Tesco, and Co-op. So they have existing relationship with these big players. Moreover, they have an exclusive agreement with the National Hospital Service, the NHS, which controls the UK public health system, and they have a contract with them which allows GPS to access the entire list of all the NHS users across UK, which means that rather than waste time and energy in obtaining lists of clients, they can go. The GPS can go directly to the NHS list, which is a massive advantage. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to basically scale up on the existing structural benefits, which is all the connections to the drugstores or pharmacies, whatever you want to call them. And in the UK, GPS proposes to do or does actually deliver drugs to the pharmacies where the private client will go and pick up the drugs. That's the scenario. So we have in place a very, very fundamental advantage that can be really generated into the sky with proper funding.
Can I ask a few questions here?
Sure.
Before I forget, so you mentioned that there was an exclusive agreement with NHS.
Yes. Yes.
Which agreement is that? And what do you mean by exclusive? Does that mean that no other IT platform can have that agreement? And what agreement is that?
Well, it says here, basically, Usman, I haven't really, gone to the nth degree to find all the minute details, but reading from their executive summary, I can see that they're the first and still only telemedical provider with access to NHS patient records. That's really all I know at this stage. I haven't really delved into it. So that's like a first mover advantage, if you want to call it that. The only kind of like cloud on the sky is that there's a historical battle in the UK between public and private healthcare, as you know, and the same probably in most any other advanced economy, including Canada, which means that the unionized NHS people want to have exclusivity in the delivery of pharmaceutical services, obviously, just like in Canada. But as you know, in Canada and most other jurisdictions where the government is a monopoly, there is a massive, a delay in services. So a lot of family physicians have abandoned the public system and gone into private system to ease the burdens of the system. So to access medical help to people that cannot wait months and years for healthcare. This is standard stuff. You see it in every country. You see it in France and everywhere else. So access to NHS is increasingly difficult, and that's why, being a private provider, we see this as a massive opportunity to grow. Not only that, but we also read a report by McKinsey company which said that the post-COVID world of medicine will be much more reliant on telehealth than before COVID, which is it's a contrarian thought, because most people think that when COVID subsides, then people will go back to their doctors and go back to their normal, which is not the case. McKinsey has done an extensive study on this. They're saying that it would.
Can you share the copy of that study, please?
I have a copy of, yes. Do you want to see it, or?
Yeah, if you can share with us. The reason for that is because it will be very helpful to kind of distribute these to our potential investors also, given that McKinsey is a very, very well respected consultancy firm, and if they say this would be taken very seriously by the investors. So
yes,
I will read it and then should be able to pass it on, given it's a third party thing.
Right.
It kind of would add to what the equity story that we're trying to build here.
Yeah, and what Usman, I can give you the whole report rather than just take out the extract of that
the
comment.
whole report, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
if it's in a soft copy format in PDF, that would be very helpful so that we can just pass it on to.
Yes, I will send it to Anne in a few minutes. And that be and oh, there it is, right there.
Okay.
Are you there? Is that?
Yes, this is the study, and they're going back to even establishing different information like growth, sustainability.
Yeah, it talks about telehealth, the future of telehealth, post COVID.
The most recent care received utilizing telemedicine. Investment in the digital health, that we can see the graph that is keep going up through COVID, like substantially up.
Well, this is very interesting. Yeah, please email it to me. I would like to read it.
Yes, I will.
This would be very, very helpful.
This is very helpful as well. From the consumer point of view, we have a shift of 11% in 2019 up to 76% adoption in 2020. And from the provider's perspective, it's 57% increase. From regulations, 80 new services, and we see that a lot of countries are actually establishing regulations and laws around telehealth because they didn't have them before, and they had to do it through the pandemic in order to give services to their citizens. So there's a lot of good information here.
I personally feel that this industry, we are just seeing the tip of the iceberg. It's going to explode because now the technology is coming in more and more. Like we see just in last 1 year, so much technology mushrooming up in pharmacy, on the telehealth itself. There is sort of a credibility which people, I think initially they did not believe in, or they were scared of the change. And it's not only in the healthcare sector. If you look at the workplace or education, people are now accepting the virtual platforms.
Correct.
Yes, definitely. We can see a lot of spending on healthcare, a lot of spending, and then this is showing how office visits for physicians is going to be less and less. We'll try to
Yeah.
So I'll send it out to you. Definitely.
But is this the full study or is it just an?
This is the full study.
The
There's
full
14 pages. It's a summary of their
It
study.
looks
It's
like
the
it's not the full study. This is part of a bigger report, I guess.
yes, it is the summary of it. What they released to the media.
here, hold on. See, Usman, it says right here on the very first paragraph, the new analysis indicates that telehealth use has increased 38 times from the pre-COVID-19 baseline. And then further on, I can't really see where the monumental paragraph is, which says that it'll be a $280 billion industry from around the 30 billion current industry level.
Yeah, it says here, a year ago we estimated that up to 250 billion of US healthcare spend would potentially be shifted to virtual.
Yes.
Virtual enabler.
And
okay, can you go down a little bit? Yeah, here. What does it say? On 2021, yeah, it's significantly up. Yeah, it's only US alone. This is a very good study, and McKinsey is very well respected firm. So, but do you have access to the full report, or this is because generally you have a different type of a cover and at the end you have a disclaimer, etc. for these type of reports?
I will try to research for it, and I will send it out. I will send you this one for now.
Yes, please.
No worries.
So, okay.
So Usman, basically, the company, the GPS says that they need about $12 million for their expansion, and outreach to the world. And we figured that, according to what I hear from the company, is that our own MedOnline needs about $5 million, but obviously this and then there would be some sort of a cooperation agreement or an affiliation of some sort, where one hand will support the other hand and all that stuff. So, and this strategy is not unique. I mean, there's been all kinds of going public routines in Canada where this has happened, where and big fish was looking for money and the small fish actually got him the money, and then there was kind of like a reverse takeover situation, where everybody came out the winner, and that's what we propose to do here. And having presented that to Jennifer, the lawyer, she seemed rather pleased by that, because of obviously that would increase her workload too. But it does make infinite sense, to do a 2-for-1 shot to to kind of like maybe do a reverse takeover where. At the end of the day, MedOnline would be the parent company, or if it makes more sense from the UK side, because of their laws and everything, we don't want to be seen as a foreign invader, penetrating their blessed NHS system. So all these things have to be figured out rationally after we have more meetings with the group. But it makes sense. I mean, it could be very well established that you have to prepare for the post-COVID world, and it's not going to be ever the same again as it was before that time. That's my vision, as I was asked to. Sorry?
Yes, if may ask. So, what is the objective here? So we have GPS, we have MedOnline. The plan is they need 12 million, we need 5 million. So the plan is to raise 17 together, somehow market both companies together. But I didn't understand the reverse takeover or kind of the merger of the two companies. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So could you just explain this idea? How did it come about and what are the benefits?
Well, to date, Usman, GPS has raised approximately 5 million pounds, British pounds, which is about 10 million Canadian, to basically set up the entire structure and the operation of that company. So if we were to raise 14-15 million dollars, it would probably mean that we would be the acquirer of GPS, because we would probably be buying into MedOnline and GPS. But in the formula that might make sense is that we would acquire GPS, and they would issue us enough shares so that when the smoke clears, we would be the acquiring company. But again, I mean, that depends on issues, that we haven't yet discussed on the actual nitty-gritty operations of GPS in Britain. So it's these things are not known at this time, but there are some concepts that you can think about while we dig deeper into the details. The British company is run by people that are that have experience in running public companies and the startups and venture capital. So combining their knowledge with our people here in Canada, I think we can figure out a way, and one of which might be that we would actually be the takeover company.
No, but why would we want to do that? What's the advantage for us as a start for MedOnline?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You're too low.
Sorry. I see. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, so I would have two questions here. One, what is in it for us? Why should we merge with them? And then the second is, given that they seem to be more established, they've already have revenues. They've already raised £5 million and have started their operations. Why would they be interested in merging with MedOnline?
Well, because we basically work with them right now to raise money for them. So it's part and parcel of MedOnline being involved with GPS is that GPS will get funded for all the money that it is looking for now to expand its business plan and to realize its business plan. Because they, as I said, they have unlimited potential really with all their connections to the pharmaceutical world in the UK. So they already have made inroads, and the only way they can go from this point to that point is to get money, and we can get. I mean, I don't know how their situation is in the UK, but it seems that they're looking to us here in Canada to fund them. And if they really want to grow internationally, they would have to come to North America. And I want MedOnline to be the North American formula for that, because we have our own plans for.
If they already raised £5 million from the UK, and UK is a very large financial market, why are they unable to raise another 10 to 12 or $15 million from the UK market as a second?
As I said, all I've done is I've read the investor presentation, and they wouldn't reveal such delicate information on the first impression. But if I had to guess, obviously, as I said, the UK market is basically all nationalized, the health system. The private initiative there is not a glorious path, which a lot of Fleet Street bankers would want to get involved in. I think there's a stigma attached to funding GPS in the UK, but it's obviously that stigma is ever present. But I mean, there's still a market there. I mean, if you ignore the political fallout, there is a substantial proportion of Britons who want to get service in every which way that they can, in the fastest way they can, without the NHS, delays. But as I said, I'm just guessing, But to help them out, I mean, we could expand their footprint in Britain into the international scope, given what they already have accomplished with their pharmaceutical footprint. So that's my thinking. I really haven't thought too much about it, Usman, because I know I have only half the facts at my disposal, if even that. So
Yeah, again, my view here would be,
I don't know what to say. I mean, $13 million into it doesn't seem like a lot of money in a large country like the UK. But I think that if they have all that they say they have, I think it's worth our while to push for a prospectus type of document here in Ontario, raise the money in Ontario, put it into the UK to help them go to their next level, and at the same time help MedOnline, to expand its operations and synergize with the UK operation. That's
So,
my
George,
take.
I have a question here.
But I could be wrong.
I have a question.
But I hope I'm
I have
not.
a question. Yeah. So to this till today, we haven't had any direct meeting with GPS or any representative yet, right? We have gone through Kyle, I guess. Am I right? Can you hear me, George?
No, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I was saying that have we had any direct meeting with GPS guys yet, or it's been through Kyle yet?
Okay, I hear. Good now. I hear you good. Okay, what are you saying?
Yeah, I was saying that have we had any direct meeting with GPS guys? I think whatever we have heard so far is through Kyle. And if you can explain, like introduce Kyle and his role, because he's the one who brought it in, maybe that will explain things better.
Well,
Because whatever we are thinking, maybe just our own kind of solution.
assumptions.
Yeah, assumptions. Yeah.
well, yeah, I've talked to Kyle, a number of times over this, and basically, he just regurgitates what's on the presentation. I don't think he even has talked with the British people.
Yeah. So we will only get the answers once we directly talk to
Yes,
GPS
that would be the
guys,
next move. Yes,
right?
that would be the next move.
Yeah, again,
I think
my view, generally my view is, and this is what I've seen, that wherever the company is based, the domestic investors are the most bullish on that specific business or industry because they understand it better. So the one question, if we go on and raise it in Canada, will be that why is this company having raised £5 million in the UK is not raising in the UK? So if the UK investors are not convinced on the business model for political reasons, whatever those reasons are, then that would apply to the Canadian investors as well. And given us, without any history, this is the first time we'd be going to investors for MedOnline as well, that we should be careful and make sure that what we represent to the investors, we have to be careful about, because one, we don't have any history, so we'd be convincing them on our business model. On top of it, we have to then do a complete due diligence on the UK medical space, the company, how have they done it, etc., etc. Because here we'd be representing, and then change the whole of our business model to bring them in, as you said, reverse takeover, whatever, to become part of that company or take over some shares. All of that, to my view, initially becomes too complicated for a startup like MedOnline. So again, my view from what I've heard, given that we've not even spoken to them, would be to keep it simple. Go to investors with our own financial model, just raise $5 million on the side, keep doing the diligence with this company, meet their shareholders, their management, as they've talked about, better understand the issues there and why they are unable to raise there. And then, as a second stage, once we have raised and we are established, to look at then what type of solutions or mergers can we have. Because I'd be very surprised if they are that well advanced that they would let us reverse takeover or let us take some shares there at a very reasonable valuation, which would make sense for us.
I would like to add that I think the proof is in the pudding. If you look here at their proceeds and how they intend to use the 12 million, you will see that they are only going to campaign and scale up on operations. But in the meeting with Jennifer, Kyle said that they have this clause in their contract with Mavane Capital. They want to use the funding as well to cover that so that they can gain more of their shares back. So I think the reason would be that they're not doing any funding in the UK and seeking out abroad would be like more of a political move. They are maybe trying to do it behind their backs in order to generate the revenue as quickly as possible, and they know that Mavane could have connections and for people, and they can stop anything they would try in the UK. That's why they rather to take their chances abroad in order to bring in the money so that they can gain their control back. Of course, I wanted to wait for this discussion and then set up a meeting with them. But just by knowing who would be representing the company, before even the meeting, we would know if this is the main reason, if there's other things. Naturally, I don't think Kyle have been that diligent on it. I've known him, we had interactions with him before. So he's just representing them as a project that he has that he can fund, and he used his connections in order to fund. But yeah, it is an eye-opening thing, and we need to do our due diligence. That's why, in parallel of having the meeting with AMD, we wanted to meet them. So probably next week we'll set up a meeting in the coming days with them, so we can offer all our questions and see if it fits for us, and then what were they thinking in terms of co-funding together. The thing is that if we look at the MedOnline's side from an EMD perspective, my impression from the meeting with Jennifer is that if we as MedOnline will seek funding not only to scale up but also to do a requisition of a company that already has revenues, we might show as like later on in a better way. We could show revenues faster in that way. We can already imply that we are going internationally just by the fact that they're coming from the UK, and they can tell their investors a better story in order to fund a pre-scale up, pre-revenues company like us. And that is what is attractive on this deal for MedOnline.
Yes, but the only concern there would be that yes, it is good to scale up, but you have to look at the other market and do the full diligence on that market as well, because every market has its own dynamics, own growth. And as George pointed out, UK is a heavily regulated market with NHS being the dominant player. How would telehealth work there? I don't know. It may be very profitable, maybe not so. So what I'm just saying is that it would, yes, theoretically it may be beneficial, but it would add a lot of complications for the investor to look at both markets and then fund. So, and then the other thing we need to also keep in mind is what type of valuation would they propose? Because my only concern would be that we become a very, very small player. Because if they have additional revenues, they come up with a valuation of say 150, 200 million. Ours is 50. Then when we exchange shares, we become a minority in our own company. So we own 20% shares, they own 80%, and then so that's the other thing we need to be careful about.
So this is the slide for their financial information.
Yeah, but they're all projections.
Yeah.
You said that they're already making revenues. These are British pounds or these are US dollars?
Dollars.
They are showing dollars.
My view is, so they say revenue of 1 million year end Jan 2021 with contract recently signed for additional 1 million going forward. So 2 million and growing.
Yeah.
Now it depends on what type of evaluation that they will come up with, because they're showing profitability from 2023. So they may end up valuing it at 100 plus million. And so then we would, all of our company would take up what, 33 or 30% of the combined entity. So we'll be a minority. They'll
Yes,
be a
Well,
majority. So
I agree
that's
with
the other
that.
thing we need to keep in mind.
I agree on you with you on that. Regarding the UK market, from my research, I've looked at data from 2019, 2020 on their healthcare. They do have huge waiting lists for surgeons. Even they have huge waiting lists for GPs. Pre-COVID, with COVID, it became more complicated. And they had a lot of unemployment between doctors who had to close up their clinics. The same situation that happened here in Canada. They do not, basically, in order to avoid those waiting lists in the past years, patients have been seeking private healthcare, and they have been seeking to pay as much as they can in order to get their health uh, treatment as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
Hozar,
In it.
Hozar, I think all these discussions that we are having right now, this should be stage number 2. As I said, it may just be our assumption that GPS wants to even work with us. I
True.
mean,
Correct.
these are, first we should
Agreed.
at least ask Kyle or someone to get us like in touch with GPS guys
Directly, yes, have a direct
directly.
meeting with them
If there is
and to
some
understand their objectives.
intention, probably then we can
Correct.
talk about these figures.
Correct.
Usman,
Absolutely.
what we are trying to do is that we are trying to knock at a new foundation market door with a new approach. We have been there once. They didn't like, they were not convinced with the evaluation and all stuff. And now uh, all we are trying to do is knock at new foundation market door with a new proposal where we think that GPS may want to form some sort of alliance, and it's just between us and Kyle. Kyle, uh, uh, we tried to work with Kyle on few other projects, and to be honest, I was disappointed. Uh, so I think we need to dig more deeper into this. What these guys have to propose, if I'm right.
Yeah,
I,
no, I agree with you. I think the next step should be to have a direct meeting with the with GP,
Correct.
with their management team or the investors, and understand what they are, if they are at all interested of all the discussions we're having or not.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I agree with you. So I will set up a meeting and I'll let you know.
Their only interest maybe because they are not positioned in Canada and they want to approach some mechanism, some EMD from Canadian market where we feel that we are connected through Jennifer. So this is probably the only value we can offer to
There's another,
GPS.
there's another two
I
things.
think the other value we can offer them is growth in Canada, and
yes.
then
Growth,
potential entry into the US.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
may be a lot more keen potentially to come
yeah,
into and join us, given the kind of the hybrid healthcare structure here, where you can have private versus
right.
the other one, kind of regulatory or the government healthcare. So it may be a growth opportunity for them from that perspective. So I think, but it may not be a very good opportunity for us given the valuation differential that may come up. But,
But
but it will all depend on, as you said, to understand their objectives. If they're that keen, then maybe we can argue for a higher valuation and see how that goes. But yeah,
the-
so let's see what their objectives are.
There is two other things that Kyle said in the meeting. One of them that currently there is no regulations around. Nobody can sell cannabis in the UK versus here in Canada that it's already regulated and now it's being sold freely. So GPS is looking into being the only doctors who can prescribe cannabis. They asked if our team is experienced in that regard, if we can help them to
yeah,
their strategies. And another thing that they already have is they have an agreement with a hotel chain that operates around the world. And in Australia, they did mention that they have prioritized growing into Australian market, which is known to be a very huge telehealth market because how vast the continent is, and that it's very typical because of the remote areas and rural areas that people have less access to healthcare. That is their priority for expansion, not North America. But you would never know exactly. We would set up the meeting and we would discuss with them how we can bring value and how can they fit into our picture, and we'll take it from there.
And very importantly, I think, and Usman hit on it before, I think the paramount benefit of this deal is that if we merge with a company in one way or the other, whether it's merger or amalgamation or takeover, we inherit the what's the word? We inherit the primary positive element, which is that our company is already registered with the National Health Authority. It is already doing massive deliveries of pharmaceuticals, albeit in the UK, and it has the mechanisms to run a functional pharmaceutical industry. So that is kind of like a goodwill concept, but it would read very well with investors in MedOnline, if investors in GPS, to know, well, and on MedOnline, that we're not new kids on the block. We are partnered with a massive system in the UK, and for all we know, when McKinsey talks about the 20-fold increase in the post-COVID healthcare, I think that a large part of the growth will come from private telehealth services, not national health services, because functionally, I think they're on the verge of crumbling, in whether it's in the UK or the US medical system, and or Canada. They're fully overloaded with work. Their doctors are dropping like flies in the operating rooms. There's no room in the operating rooms. So all this, begs the question: who is going to come to be a savior? And the answer is private telehealth. That's kind of like the elephant in the room that nobody seems to appreciate. That we inherit a well-established, functional operation in the UK. By the mere fact that we're connected to the NHS makes us worthy of being accredited to get access to the medical system in the United States and elsewhere. So I think that's a very important consideration. The GPS is in the same position as MedOnline. They look like they're a Mickey Mouse operation. They're just twiddling their thumbs, doing nothing, and because they don't have the financing, and that doesn't mean that the company is a defunct entity. It just means that they need some monetary push. And in the UK, I would say again that there is an attached stigma to dealing with private health. It's like in Toronto, you try to open up now a privatized long-term care operation, and you're going to get a lot of laughter from investors, because even though privatized long-term care makes a lot of money in Ontario, it's seen as it's a gouging, feelingless, distant kind of operation where they're more concerned with the dollars than with the patients. So there are a lot of companies on the TSX in Toronto that are based all over the goddamn world. They're virtually every country in the world, and they're not listed here because they're afraid of their domestic market. They're here because Canada has a good reputation for compliancy, and regulations and everything. That's why they come here. So the Canadian investors understand that. I mean, they invest as much, in companies in Indonesia, oil companies, and in Australian pit mining, because they know that Toronto is the place to raise risk capital, So, all these concepts should be considered. And it's not just a textbook study of, like a Harvard business study. Well, give us the reasons why it's crazy for a Canadian investor to invest in a UK company. I think you have to factor in a lot of elements. And I think that the goodwill that comes with us being established in a developed economy, doing major deals with Boots and with whatever their other companies are called, 4,000 locations, 5,000 general practitioners who are on site. I mean, that's massive. It will blow people's mind out, and they would gladly jump in with a company grouping that has all this in the UK. That's my opinion for what it's worth.
Great. Yeah. So what's the next step? How can we get in touch with the
Well,
GPS
as I
guys?
said,
Is it
I
going
mean,
to do with Kyle or
I
Jennifer?
think
Or
I think that the Foundation Capital will gladly do a first of all a private placement initially to raise enough money, to fund the expensive exercise of doing a prospectus. But obviously there'll be interaction. I mean, there'll have to be interaction between them and the UK and their legal help in the UK. And they'll work together, to produce an IPO that's compliant with both actions. And they'll be glad to set aside money for MedOnline, which might itself be a second prospectus offering, or maybe not. Maybe MedOnline will just be a client for Foundation to do, a private capital raise, and that could be as big as a prospectus raise.
my question is, I still don't understand. Explain to me. Like, shouldn't we talk to GPS guys before we even
Well,
go
of course
to
you do.
New
Of
Foundation
course you
Market?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who is the person? Like, should we ask Kyle to set up a meeting, or you have the direct contact?
Conceivably, it would be the whatever you call that guy, David at the Foundation Capital. I forget his name. Peter. Peter would pick up the phone and engage in a discussion with our friends in the UK.
It's a bit complicated.
Yes, but
It's not complicated. I mean, that's how you start the prospectus. You start.
No, before that, George, in the meeting with Jennifer, she said that we will have to make at least an initial understanding with GP before the EMD would engage them, because they need to know how it will play out, and then they will do the efforts, and that's what discussing.
That's what Peter would cover in his initial discussion. He would say, we have an interested party who came over to us through this Meadow Bank, exempt market dealer here in Toronto. And they will know about that because they engaged Meadow Bank, the British people, right? So they know that there's interest out here in Canada. They probably know about Kyle too. And Peter will say, okay, so we'll take on this assignment, and will you guys give us a kind of like a general plan of attack? Like, how would you like to initially think about splitting the company, and who gets what, and who's on first and who's on second? That kind of discussion, and that would work out. I mean, that's how lawyers do what they do, which is that they engage the other firm and the other firm's legal help probably, and figure out the different angles, and then they get back to us saying that this is what's on the table. Can you guys finesse it further and see if it meets your requirements? But Peter knows that the general outline would be that he would raise the 12 million or 13 million dollars, and he must also raise 5 million at the very least. But probably he would do both deals under one prospectus umbrella.
You told me previously.
I think again, my view is we are really jumping the gun. I think the way these things should work is, as Tariq pointed out, we need to have a direct discussion, a meeting with the management of GPS.
I agree.
To understand what they have done, to hear from them. They should walk us through their presentation that they have sent across, and then tell us what do they need from us. what are their objectives of, so, other than raising 12 million that MedOnline shouldn't be involved in. They should just go to a financial advisor and raise the funds. But if there is any involvement of MedOnline, what is that involvement and how will that work? They have to first talk to us directly to present to us, and then we have to then get back to them whether the things that they are saying in theory or in principle we're acceptable to it. And then comes the second stage. Once we have reached an agreement on broad terms, is when we talk about the valuations of the two company, if it is a merger or a potential. And then, and once we have agreed on those, then is the third step where we collectively go and raise funds, because putting two companies which are legally two separate entities with different shareholders, you don't go to the market and raise funds for both of them together in one prospectus. You only do that if both have merged together to form one legal entity. Two different legal entities with two different shareholders, I have never seen them raising funds together.
How would that work?
Yeah, so it will not be legally possible. So the way this needs to work is, as I've just outlined, step one, step two, and then step three.
I agree with you. I would reach out to Kyle, and even in general, we do need to talk to them and make sure this is a real request from them. If there's too many people between us and them, I would want to have a direct connection in there to know who's representing them. Is he allowed to represent them? Do they? What is the shareholder like structure that they have? I mean, we only have this presentation to go off of, and it's not enough information. And we need to know people who are like decision makers, and that's what we will be needing to talk to. And then we can invite them to the EMD meeting and proceed with that.
No. Can you go to the slide where they have their management and shareholders?
Yes. So this is their managers. As you can see, the CEO.
No, the other one, the other one where they had the shareholding. Sorry.
Shareholders. Okay. Yes. Here.
Here. So if you just a little bit expand this a little bit, yeah. So what we need to do is to definitely meet the two upper guys, the Atul and Suleiman. These, one of them have to be there, and then we need to understand what is the views of Maven Capital, because they own 36.5%.
Yes.
So they would definitely be driving this. So these are the three people. We need to meet one of them directly. So either the representative of Maven Capital or Atul or Suleiman.
Atul is actually the representative of Maven. I will just go backward a little bit to his resume. So as you can see here, he is with Maven Capital.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's the CEO.
He's the CEO. Okay. So either CEO or COO, one of them obviously will have to be on the call to explain us if they're at all interested in, because I again, from the conversations that I have seen, I'm just joined in. So, but Tariq or George, or nobody has that, or Uzar has had this direct discussion. So sometimes, in my experience, there is such a big disconnect that they have very different objectives and you are thinking very differently. So let's have that first meeting, understand what their objectives are, what they want, and then we can have this call again to see what we need to do.
Yes.
I agree with you. The objective here from this discussion is, first of all, this is just something that just started. It's in initial stages. And we want to understand what is the vision, what we want. And then when we can go and meet with them, we would have the right questions to ask. So this was
this was a great discussion. Yeah. So now we understand where this is going. So let's move on to another important thing. Usman is in Saudi, and because he comes from the investment banking background, he's in Pakistan now, but he's just visiting, and he is connected to this. Obviously, he worked in this sector for last 10-15 years. So
22 years to be exact.
22 years. Yeah. That's
Time
how
flies,
old
man.
I am. Like, yeah,
Yes,
almost my age.
So
yes.
Yeah.
you were premature
So
bald. Yeah.
yeah, so today's discussion, we want to form a team to help Usman, because once he approaches his investors, obviously we need to have a team backing him up. Jamal could not join us. He's the one who worked on the business plans. He is aware of the figures in the forecast and evaluation. So he will be with us. Usman, we also talked to Kirk. I'm not too sure if you were in the meeting, but Kirk was at the CEO position for some time with MedOnline. He is he has a extensive experience with healthcare market in Canada. He's a very knowledgeable person. He he will be with us uh, because he was at the role of CEO and he's been through a lot of presentations. I think he can he can uh, um, he can be part of the presentations for your investors. So tomorrow, probably again we can have a small meeting with Kirk so that uh, you guys can introduce yourselves and we can go on from there. Uh,
I was under the impression that tomorrow we are pitching for investors because I asked him to do the pitching for us. And
it's up to Usman how fast he wants to move because he's there for
Yeah.
2 days.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it will be too early and too premature to meet the investors. What I wanted to do was that I spoke to a couple of friends, and I'm going to meet them tomorrow, early afternoon Saudi time, to kind of discuss this. And then what I wanted to do was when I'm here, we set up an introductory call with these guys, but these are the ones who are in the banking industry with me. So while I'm gone, then they'll be able to market this to them because we've set up a financial advisory firm here in Saudi, where we have well, actually there's a guy of Qatar and then there's a Saudi guy Abdullah that I told you about are the ones that generally are kind of working here to just raise funds in the Middle East. And we have three mandates on IPOs and those that type of stuff, which are all the domestic larger organizations, not startups. So I have to have a discussion with them to gauge their interest in the technology sector, which is obviously a big thing here these days. There is mostly fintech, which is common, and then we have and Abdullah has a very close relationship with Salman Habib Hospital. So Salman Habib Hospital chain is the largest hospital chain in Saudi with market valuations of $3 billion. They just got listed of $4 billion now. And it is owned by a single family. So his son is a close friend. So the idea was to speak to him also to see if they want to bring that in here in Saudi. So they invest in MedOnline and then have some kind of uh, a a collaborative agreement to set up the same platform for Saudi here, where they have over I don't know 2,000 or 3,000 doctors in Saudi. They have about I think about 10 or 12 hospitals, and their revenue per patient is more than double rest of the private hospitals here. So they're really premium hospitals. So the idea was to not to just to him and then some others. So I just want to run that by them tomorrow to see how they go, and then either tomorrow evening or day after tomorrow we will set up a call with them just to kind of walk them through the plan, meet them with the team so that they get comfortable, and then we go ahead and talk to investors within within the Middle East, where we would not require any prospectus or anything here, given that this would be like a private placement. So all you need is a presentation, and that's it. And then if we take on this, or they take on this, then Iftikhar will work with you guys to. He's very good with financial models, so he will tweak it a little bit. And he'll also go through the presentation, and maybe if we need a couple of new slides, he'll make them first as well. So we'll prepare the presentation for the Middle East, and then go and meet the investors here. I don't
Sounds
think
like
yeah. But this is all subject to their interest, so I'm going to meet them tomorrow, and then see if it. Obviously, their first question was, "Do you trust these guys? Are they for real?" I said, "Yeah, I know them." So it's okay. So that was obviously, and then that's generally, if it was a Saudi entity, they would take up in a flash. But because it's a foreign entity, then they need some. They need to be sure. Now the other question is: is MedOnline legally registered in Canada, and do we have what's called Health Canada's license, or whatever is required, or the legal requirement? What is the legal requirements there for
so.
Telia?
I can tell you about the incorporation. We have two incorporations. We are federally incorporated in Canada, and we have also incorporated in Delaware because we plan to expand to US. We are already getting ready for the crowdfunding through a platform called WeFunder. And when it comes to the licensing, there is no license as such, which is for the telehealth platform. The doctors are to be licensed. We have to follow compliance. We have a team, Ian and Jean. They have a lot of experience with the compliance and forming PIA, TRA, privacy. That's one side. Then we have our like the two legal advisors. One is the streets law. Then we have Tom and his team from Gowlings. They help us with the user agreements and like making sure that everything is compliant.
Yeah,
So
in
so
your
that's
management
what it
team,
is.
and in your management team, or the board, sorry, because I've not gone through them. Are there any healthcare practitioners or somebody who's worked in Health Canada for many years?
Yes, we have Dr. Aram, Dr. Kashev, and Dr. Kashev has a team of 10 doctors.
We also have Logan, who is in the clinic management
Yes.
sector. Joining us will be Michael Sad for mental health, Vankish Krishna for pharmacy, as a pharmacy advisor. I would like to add that in our strategy for Saudi market, we realized that they have finalized their telecom laws in 2020, and we did our research. In order to operate in there, we would need a Saudi citizen to join us, and we wanted that Saudi entity or our citizen to be from healthcare over there. The best plan would be combining virtual health with remote clinics. As in a lot of remote areas, there will be like a small place with just telehealth equipment where people can see the doctor in camera, and the nurse will be operating any devices that they need to take any vitals for the patients themselves. It will be a good thing to join with somebody who's already established, like this family, and if they have hospitals and clinics, then all the referrals could be in-house, and that would be great. We also have the Pakistani physicians organization in Saudi that we have connection there that we can utilize. Of course, we would probably be doing that either as a franchise that they can utilize our technology and they can do the whole work, or we can do it with partnership with them. I think that would be a good
Yeah,
offer.
I think Salman Habib would be a long shot. They're as big as it gets. They're like a multi-billion-dollar company. They're the richest in medical professionals by far in Saudi. But again, we're going to see the only advantage there would be, if they come in for them, I think most likely they would say is, okay, we're going to take, if at all that happens, they'll only be interested in how they can use our technology in Saudi. For them, $5 million is like $5 for us, honestly speaking. So they would not be interested in an investment of 5 million for the sake of investing in a company in Canada. The only way, the reason that they would invest in is that if they believe that it will substantially shorten their telehealth kind of venture in Saudi by by bringing in that platform. But then they might say, okay, we will go to some more established platform. But obviously that would come in. My only question would, the reason I asked you was that when we have this discussion, what I want to do is to have a couple of people on the call, if possible, who are who either worked on the telehealth side or with Health Canada. It just adds into the credibility of the
Kirk
platform.
is the
That's
one.
where
Kirk will take care of it.
Definitely.
I will send you. I will send you a presentation. Actually, we have quite a few presentations done by him. So Kirk is the guy that you're looking for. He is very well versed. He has experience, and he has been in the healthcare industry for a long time.
To add to that, Kirk actually worked with Saudi company that's doing education. I forgot the name of that company, but he helped establish e-learning in Saudi. He has lots of connections there. He has worked in pharmaceuticals, not only in Canada, internationally in the sales side. He has worked with the government in establishing regulations and funding healthcare. He worked with Infoway. Infoway is a nonprofit in Canada that takes a lot of funding from the government, and they do projects in order to digitize and to improve healthcare delivery in Canada. For example, one of their projects that they are doing is Prescribe IT, which will allow pharmacies to get their prescriptions through one software in order to facilitate all the pharma dispensing. He has a lot of knowledge in Canadian healthcare. We can definitely invite Dr. Iram if they would want to see somebody who's a clinical. She's not only a family doctor, she's also a specialist, and she trains other doctors in cardiology and gets consultation. He said he will be available tomorrow after 2 o'clock. So if you want him to
yeah, I think at this moment it will just be an initial meeting. So where if you said Kirk is the person, then him and both of you would probably be sufficient so that we can talk them through the business plan and the model and how this works, where we are set up, etc. Specifically, the presentation that you sent me would probably be sufficient for the time being. But let me see what we can do, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, the only concern that I see is so we spoke with Kirk. He is available tomorrow only after 2 o'clock, which would be pretty late at your end. It's okay for you, but probably with Iftikhar and other guys, it would not be a good time. So maybe we have to.
No, if we do it at 2 o'clock your time, this would be 10 hour
10
time.
o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I understand. Let me check with these guys. If 10, I know me and Iftikhar would be fine. Abdullah generally sleeps very late anyway, so let's see if he's available. But let me see tomorrow. I will try to meet them first, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I will send you a presentation where it's like 6 months old, where Kirk was still a CEO, and he explains the objectives and timelines for MedOnline operations.
Yeah, but if it's 6 months old, you would have a lot of timelines which you would not have met. So let's not go there. Let's stick to the presentation that you sent me.
No. All right. It was only for you, for your eyes only.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your eyes only. Yeah. So
Actually,
that you know that the guy. Yeah.
On updating our presentation, so he
Yes.
will be presenting whatever he will update.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, George,
George, I want to have an ice cream also. I have to
Come
go
on, you
outside
need
and find an
to
ice cream parlor.
go.
I hear you. I hear you.
We're all running to the shop after looking at you, man.
Yeah, a chalk bar or something like that, basically.
Definitely, I will.
Oh, you can see
Magnum,
me eating? Oh, shit. Sorry.
of course.
You have birds in
It's a
that room
beautiful
or?
sight.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Salam
Thank you,
alaikum.
everyone.
Fun.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Okay.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye bye. Take care. Yeah.
Dilomi,
Yes,
then
Dilomi.
Oh, hey, Hazar. I've been watching and silently
So
listening.
that
what
was
do you
the
think?
idea. That was the only idea. We wanted that our team should listen to it because it's a good. This conversation is like good learning
Learning
and
experience. Yeah.
to know where we are heading. Who
Yeah.
is in the team? What are their expertise? What's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really great that you joined in.